Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload we'll be talking about the two additional snowstorms that will be coming after the one that happened yesterday. So now the title, instead of reading 3, reads 2 snowstorms, and that's because one already occurred again yesterday. We have it centered across southeastern Canada, dropping a bit of snow across Quebec. It dropped a bit across Ontario, just north of Superior and Huron and Michigan, across those areas. It was definitely an overproducer, at least for the US side. I don't know exactly the amounts of snow in Canada, since the snowfall report system I use only really provides metrics for the US. And places in Minneapolis got, almost a foot of snow in some locations. So it was definitely interesting to see that overperform. And we have more snow on the way, as mentioned. So if you guys, before we get into this quickly, I just want to say, if you guys enjoy this channel, like what you're seeing, check out the other videos, watch this video, and consider subscribing. And that, that really helps out. So feel free to do so. And if you also are a returning viewer, liking the videos, really awesome, and it helps out a ton as well. So without further ado, let's start talking about this weather. We start off with the European model, the high resolution ECMWF pivotal weather. And notice that right now it may not seem like a lot of things are going on, or at least if they are going on, they're all over the place. And that's kind of true. We have a weak little area of disturbance across north of Lake Superior, some showers, rain mixing with some snow. We have that bigger storm that occurred yesterday across southeastern Canada, dropping a bit of rain into the northeast and southern Canada, especially southern Canada, because as you get further and further away from this system, the impacts lessen. The radius, is pretty small in that storm. In terms of the wind, really the wind on this one in particular here is almost nothing. That's almost like snow just falling straight flat. We do have a bit of winds further away when it starts working together with a high pressure. That pushes away, but what we see is a low pressure we already have across the mountainous Montana, Idaho, Wyoming. It just moved off of Washington and Oregon, those areas. But this continues intensifying. Quite a bit of snow occurs across these locations, up to isolated amounts up to a foot. So that's definitely quite a bit of snow, even for the mountains at this time of the year, early October or mid-October. What we definitely start seeing with most models in agreement with this is a warm front developing across Iowa, Illinois, Indiana. This really is already in the development phases, but it starts intensifying. Some thunderstorms, heavy rain will be possible. And as soon as this energy moves onto the plains with this low pressure into the overnight hours, we start seeing bursts of very, heavy snow possible. And it kind of explodes, if you will. Now, this thing has been trending a bit weaker with the European model, but not necessarily with the other models. But you can see that the European spreads widespread snowfall across Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Wyoming, Montana into tomorrow afternoon. And this system really kind of weakens on its snow side. The rain definitely intensifies. It develops a cold front, some thunderstorms, showers, dreary weather, and that moves off to the north. I wouldn't say blizzard conditions are going to be with this. Definitely windy, though. There could be some wind gusts approaching blizzard-like criteria, but no blizzard warnings should be issued as far as right now things are looking. This moves into the northeast. You can see it has more steady rain than that first storm, so definitely good news for those drier areas. But a lot of snow still to the north on the head of that system, that little mushroom almost looking like creature. And that brings snow into Ontario, Quebec, and into the Canadian Maritimes. But once that is out of the forecast area, what we look at is another system, quickly following its footsteps. So by Friday morning, we see a big storm, stronger than any of these two storms were at this time, approaching the northwest. This one's definitely the strongest, and lots of rain, snow, more snow than typically you would see during an October system because of the abundance of cold air. This moves into Idaho, Montana, dropping quite a bit of snow. Again, some of these locations seeing more snow than they have seen from these past two systems combined. And it does intensify a bit as it moves off into the plains, the mountains, Wyoming, Montana, seeing quite a bit of precipitation, a little bit of rain mixing in on the warmer side. Again, Snow spreads into the plains, affecting similar locations: Minnesota, Minneapolis, Wisconsin, the Dakotas. A bit further to the south, we see more rain with this, large slugs of precipitation. You can see that the snow kind of starts drifting away, and this system, if you will, rips itself apart. One piece moves to the north, following still behind it quite a good load of rain, and that could lead to some more persistent rainfall, maybe even some flooding, especially if there's several thunderstorms over each other. And as we push this into the overtime, really not overtime, next week at around Tuesday, Wednesday, we still see precipitation across southwest, the southwestern United States, the Four Corners, Arizona, New Mexico. Many of these locations have been very, very dry. So, the drought here is just really, really bad. Just the whole western United States is bad. So any precip they can get is good, rain or snow. And the models have been trending towards that. And you can see the remaining precip gets spat out by the system, kind of like a snowblower almost. And after that, maybe we'll have to see more rain across the southwest sticks around. So that's good news. But really, to be honest with you, this is still a bit too far out. But it's safe to say, in my opinion, that a more dry pattern and a more calm pattern is on its way after that second storm system. The temperatures will be warmer, or at least more closer to normal. I mean, you could see that we have contrasting sides again. As I mentioned in today's earlier video, we have either very cold, very warm, and the cold air definitely does spill in, but in the long term, you could see it's more moderate. Where it is warm, it's slightly warmer. Where it is cold, it's just slightly cooler. So definitely something more appropriate and a better case scenario. Let's look at the total snowfall accumulation, since that's kind of what people want to know. You can see the first storm, the European, doesn't show that much. Maybe up to a foot across the South Dakota area. But quite miserable amounts compared to what some of the other models are showing. And if we take in the second storm, you can see quite a bit more. We see snow develop across the plains, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, into Colorado. There could be quite a bit of snow, and again, pushing into New Mexico, Arizona. This is probably the best piece of information we've gotten in a while for these locations. That snow, it may not be a lot, but it's still precip, and it's definitely good news. Southeastern Canada, really, not the huge cities, Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa. Those cities will mainly remain snow-free, but to the north of those areas, definitely a bit of snow. And you may be looking at this and being like, okay, this isn't really that bad. This isn't heavy snow. Well, it depends. It's subjective, because while this is further to the north, right, these locations usually see these type of storms. It's really early in the season still, October 21st. As I'm recording this video, and looking at these type of snowfall forecasts is a bit unusual at this time of the year. It doesn't really foreshadow anything about the future. It's just the imminent, It typically isn't this snowy during October, even in a regular chillier year. For example, yesterday Minneapolis broke its second heaviest snowfall event in October. So that was definitely, impressive, especially since the records were probably more than 150 years old. And in the long term, very little snow gets added on. So to be honest, that's a bit good news. A bit more across the southwest. Colorado sees quite a bit, which is good news. And let's take a look at the precipitation. I am focusing the most on a European because this usually does the best job, though not always. And sorry, I wanted to go to total accumulated precipitation, not the actual forecast. And definitely where that kind of that leaf blower, snow blower effect is occurring, we could be looking at in general, some heftier amounts, 2 to 3 inches of rain. This counts snow, so where the snow falls 1 to 2 inches. And the southwest depends on where this sets up, but closer to Colorado and New Mexico, northern New Mexico is where the heavier amounts will lie. Even some 4-inch amounts right there, 3 to 4 inch amounts. New Mexico seeing some locations, staying almost dry, but definitely a bit more precipitation showing up here, so it's better than none, and they'll take anything they can get, especially since some locations have stayed dry for bone dry, like not even a tenth of a precip of an inch for many, many days. I think it's one of their longest stretches. Now I want to show you the other models. I want to run through these models a bit quicker, since I don't want to extend the video a bit or much too longer. Notice we have that first system that occurred yesterday, pulling away into Canada and out, then eventually into Atlantic Ocean. We see that second storm system, the GFS, it clearly keeps it a bit stronger, dumping more snow across the UP, Duluth, and just north of Minneapolis, kind of St. Cloud, maybe seeing more snow out of that. A bit more rain and a bit more of a well put together storm with the GFS model. More snow, more rain in general, more organized. Timing for this system again, Saturday we see that that second storm very strong as well. The GFS shows lots of precip already to work with it. Doesn't do much developing across the United States as it could, but it still does a fair amount. And especially being early on, it doesn't even have to develop that much because the amount of kind of moisture, if you will, that is floating around will still be enough to just provide a decent snowfall event out of the storm. And notice that the GFS takes us significantly further to the south, affecting areas like Iowa, Kansas, even the panhandles of Oklahoma, Texas, into northern Illinois, Wisconsin, and a little bit more rain with it as well. We see a stretch of snow into Texas, New Mexico. Definitely a bit less rain across the southwest, but still a more significant system that drags some snow very far into Texas. I don't know about that. I don't think that will happen. But again, this year has been crazy. And these weather anomalies in terms of temperatures will be very, very cold, at least to around midweek next week where we start seeing the pattern break. The remaining moisture from that system combined with some tropics could, probably produce some rain. We see some northern-like systems, though nothing extraordinary. And actually at this point, look at this, November 6th, almost no precip hitting the United States. Southern Canada into British Columbia, we'll be seeing some precip. Again, I mean, this isn't a forecast at this point. This is just so far out. I just want to show you that the models are trending towards a more calmer pattern and simultaneously a more moderate pattern. So temperature is still either below or above, but not as extreme. Total snowfall with the GFS is a bit more, especially since it kept that first storm a bit stronger. But out of that second one, it's a bit more widespread. It's kind of, if you were to take this and just spread it all out, and this is what you'd get. Some locations, even as far into central Texas, according to the GFS, seeing some snow. Southeastern Canada seeing a bit, even the northeast and the northwest, obviously southwestern Canada. Southern Canada in general also seeing a fair shot, especially around the Great Lakes region. GFS parallel, let's take a glance at this. This model is just still loading in. But that first storm right here we have organized, it's much more significant than what the European shows. More snow, heavier amounts. And let's just go back to a full model run. You can see, I guess not, this model is also still loading in. Sometimes the GFS parallel, this is why it's like unreliable, because it takes either sometimes it's up to date with other models, going regular, or it's a few model runs behind. Definitely though showing similar features. Let's see if we could get yesterday's model run on. You can see a bit more snow than other models. And let's take a glance at the high resolution model. This is a good model. I like to look at it quite a bit. It's very short term, but it's also usually more accurate for the amount of time that it can forecast for. And while it is, has a reputation of being more accurate, it doesn't mean it has to be. There's been, many instances, like even yesterday's snowstorm, where it didn't do the best job, but definitely did have the high snowfall amounts correct. So this model actually did do pretty well. Notice precipitation, rain moving across the Midwest, developing a warm front. We have some snow already developing across the Dakotas and into Montana, Idaho, Wyoming. The snow really explodes across the Dakota kind of borders, and cool rain coming across Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, even some locations seeing quite a bit of rain. Dakotas into Minnesota continuously seeing snow, and this eventually forming into a pretty decent snow event. And this is again not through all the everything encompassed, but already some pretty decent snow amounts, almost reaching a foot. And if we were to look at the 18Z model run, this model run does show quite substantial amounts, a good area of over 9-10 inches and a good area even above a foot. And if I were to just take this and look at it a bit, piece by piece, let's see what actually happens. So this is a few hours older because every 6 hours 18Z, 12Z, 6Z, 00Z. The Her model releases a forecast that is 36 hours long versus 18 hours long. And very similar at the beginning, rain across Illinois, Indiana, a bit more slow moving with the newer model run. So this is actually a bit of a concern because this rain may fall heavily. Dakotas, Minnesota, again, seeing that snow develop, mixes into Wisconsin, Duluth. This piece kind of almost withers away. We see another cold front like developing, and that sweeps back across Illinois and Indiana, those locations, and Iowa, obviously, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Missouri. So in terms of rain, this model definitely does show quite a bit, total accumulated precip, especially where that warm front is, but obviously quite a bit of precipitation where that snow is as well. So these amounts will still change and are subject to change, but which model run is going to be more correct is hard to see. But you can see this is what the NAMS shows out of that first system, quite a bit more than other models. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya, bye.